Hello and welcome back. My name is Recky, and I know it's high time for me to do a reaction to the Fat Electrician. There's been a bunch and a bunch and a bunch and a bunch of suggestions to Fat Electrician or Fat Files, and he just packing it out there with reactions videos that you want me to check out. So it's not like I have a gun towards my. I do. I'm gonna do this. So what we're gonna happen is I'm gonna go to the Fat Electrician and we're gonna check out America's airborn Beavers. Operation Beaver Drop. Yes, this actually happened. So my brain just keeps going here and thinking, oh shit, is it real beavers? Or is it pocket vaginas? I have not decided. It's not even funny, Recky. It's military. You don't make fun of military. Either way, if you haven't checked out the Fat Electrician yet, and of course you already have that, but if you haven't done it yet, you find the link for the Fat Electrician channel, the link, and of course for the video we're going to watch. They are both located down there in the description. So go there and give them the support that they so much deserve. If you do enjoy this, don't forget to smack the like and of course hit that subscribe. That's something I would greatly appreciate. So please consider. And if you did, well, thank you. Thank you. A big thank you to the channel members and the Patreon. Thank you so much for the excellent support. Of course, we have a big shout out to the Supreme Tier donators. Patreon, channel membership, YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Big shout out for you guys. And a personal shout out goes to the ultimate supporters: Deja, Walt, Dwayne, Dana, Troy, Robert, Matt, Barbara, and Kathy. That's an amazing list right there. If you want to join them, click join to become a member or check out the coolest link ever pinned on top of all the other comments. That's your choice. If you consider, thank you. America's air. I don't know what this is. I'm really hoping that they don't just throw out beavers. We're gonna find out. Here we go.
This is easily one of my favorite stories of all time, and it is the epitome of it's not stupid if it works.
Nope. Shit.
Today we're talking about Operation Beaver Drop, that time that a bunch of World War II veterans that worked for the Idaho Fish and Game Department got assigned the task of relocating a bunch of beavers to a different habitat, and they decided
Oh shit, so there's actually real beavers.
that the cheapest, safest, most cost-effective way to go about that was to strap them to parachutes and throw them out of a plane. And we're gonna get into it right after this ad, because I got bills. This video is brought to you by Conflict of Nations, a free online PvP military strategy game. It is based on a World War III type scenario where you get to pick your own country, or you can pick a state inside of the United States, because that's really the only way to make it fair for everybody else. Otherwise, America would be the instant win. Personally, I always start out as playing Iowa for obvious reasons, and my first order of business every single time is attacking Minnesota and turning them from Minnesota into Upper Iowa. They can't win a Super Bowl, and they're not going to win this battle. It's an easy W. But you don't have to attack. Remember, this is a strategy game. You can be diplomatic and form an alliance with another nation and work together. I mean, you could. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna build up my army with tanks, jets, and nuclear submarines and turn my attention to Wisconsin. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The nuclear submarines are not super helpful in Midwestern warfare, but that's the type of flexibility that Conflict of Nations allows. I've already taken over Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm going to put a nuclear submarine in every one of those lakes. Anyways, if you want to give it a try, it's available on both PC and mobile, and if you use my link and discount code down below, you're going to get 13,000 free gold and a free 1-month membership. Let's get back to the video.
Nice beavers.
All right, let's just take this from the top. Beavers, okay, one of my favorite animals. Why? Because I believe it is the animal that is most similar to humans. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, what about monkeys? What about apes? What about chimpanzees? They've all got thumbs and they poke shit with sticks and they eat bananas just like people do. That's fine. I understand that they're very similar to people, but beavers are the most similar to humans in spirit. We're the
They are the nature's engineers, for Christ's sake, to be honest. Holy shit.
Understand that they're very similar to people, but beavers are the most similar to humans in spirit. We're the only animals on the planet with the audacity to walk into a new ecosystem and be like, wow, I hate everything about this. I could A, migrate, But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with option B and change everything about the world around me to make it suit me better and fuck everybody else. Now, do I enjoy the wetlands that beavers create with their dams? No, it's not my jam. However, game recognized game, because when a beaver sees running water and is like,
"You gonna do this? Okay, fine." That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
it's no different than when it's July and it's hot out and I decide to turn my air conditioner on so I can domesticate the wind so that my balls aren't hot, okay? It's about changing the environment around you rather than changing yourself. Okay, it's just that species-wide main character energy of, I don't need to evolve anymore, I'm perfect how I am, I'm going to evolve the world around me to some shit that I like more. So, while I have a great
That's how you actually narrate and break down the animal beaver, because they don't give a shit. And I've seen so many videos. I'm sorry about that. I watch a lot of weird stuff on YouTube. Holy Christ! There is one dude that goes around unclogging wells and pipes underground, and at one time he got to a severely flooded place, and I said, What the hell is going on here?" And this dude was super scared because he said that I gotta be careful. And I thought, what are you afraid of? Like crocodiles is like winter. But he said beavers, and he went down, and they have created the most beautiful wall of sticks and stuff, and it completely flooded everything. We're talking about square miles of just pure flooding. And as he got close, they didn't like that one bit. So this is just mind blowing how the beavers actually work. And I love the way they don't give a shit. Well, this is good, but we're gonna make it worse because we like water.
great childish respect for beavers. Unfortunately for the beavers, between the 15, 16, 17, 1800s, their furs made dope-ass hats, and they were really popular all across Europe, and the beavers were almost hunted to extinction for their pelts. Okay, and as I'm sure you can imagine, no beavers means no beaver dams means no wetlands, and no wetlands messes up the entire ecosystem. Okay, we can't have it. We gotta
Oh shit! They create wetlands. I just got goosebumps.
quit killing all the beavers. So the early 1900s, people realized this. They put protections on the beavers, and we quit trying to hunt them to extinction and actually try to help encourage their population to build back up. Okay, fast forward like 50 years, 1945, 1946, right around then. All the young men that went off and fought World War II are coming back home. They got a bunch of money from fighting that war. They want to get a wife, build a house, have some kids, do people things. So they start expanding. And one of the places this happens in is a town called McCall, Idaho. And they start expanding, and the town gets bigger and bigger. And eventually it displaces a bunch of beavers that have been out in the woods doing beaver things for hundreds of years. And these new beavers get displaced, and they go out and they start fucking up a bunch of farmers' fields and irrigation systems. And it gets to the point that the people in the town are just going to start shooting these beavers because they're messing everything up. At this point, the Idaho Fish and Game Department, presumably also full of World War I and World War II veterans, steps in and they're like, no, we're not gonna kill these beavers. These guys are awesome. They do a lot for the environment. We're gonna take them. We'll move them somewhere else where they can thrive.
We're not killing beavers. We're just relocating them.
So here's the plan. They're gonna capture the beavers alive. They're gonna drive them as far as they can on roads, and then they're gonna pack them in on horses and mules, miles and miles into the wilderness where they're not gonna be near any humans ever. And this is a complete disaster pretty much from the start. They capture the beavers alive, stick them in a cage, throw them on a truck, try to drive them hours and hours into the wilderness. This is really hard on them because beavers, they're a lot like me. I like to sit in my house in the air conditioning. They like to sit in their dams in the nice, damp, wet environment to keep cool. Beavers can't keep cool on the back of an unair conditioned truck in the mid 1940s. A lot of them are getting heat stroke, they're passing out, they're dying, they quit eating, or they get super agitated and they're very combative the entire time because they're hot. Then even if the beaver
Gonna make sense. Picture an animal that is in water 99.9% of the entire life. Just go get thrown in a pickup truck. I'm gonna drive you a couple miles to and you're gonna get heat strokes and shit.
beavers do survive the
That was probably the shittiest pause I ever did in my entire life. I apologize for that. I'm just gonna shut up.
and they're very combative the entire time because they're hot. Then even if the beavers do survive the truck ride, they're all pissed off and angry, and now they're getting strapped to a horse or a mule, and that pisses off the horse because he's got a bunch of angry beavers all over him, and now the horse is pissed off, and the whole thing just It doesn't work. So now the Fish and Game Department is like, well, what are we going to do? We got to save all these beavers. We want to get them up in the mountains so they can build their wetlands. It's going to help protect the town from flash flooding. It's going to prevent erosion. It's going to be great for the environment. We got to save these guys. And one guy at the Fish and Game Department presumably is like, I mean, I got an idea. Hear me out.
No.
We do have an awful lot of extra surplus parachutes from World War II laying around, and we've got a plane. Okay, now to us in 2024, this sounds insane, but you gotta remember, this is 1948, okay? There's no OSHA, there's no like rules and regulations, and it's in Idaho, which is basically the middle of nowhere at this point. Nobody's telling these guys what to do. A bunch of World War I, World War II veterans are like, huh, it's actually a pretty good idea, Jimmy. You know, it did work at Normandy, and the Beavers aren't even gonna have Germans shooting at them, so I mean, pretty high likelihood they'll be fine. Let's try it.
This is just incredible, and this was I love the fact that this is like late 40s, and this is a master plan. But they can't. I mean, they don't have AC. I presume they don't have air conditioning in the vehicles or trucks, whatever it is, and they feel like it's gonna kill them if they or like driving them. And the best solution that they have is actually throw them out of an airplane and parachute them into. I hope they got some good pictures of this because, or at least a video of, because I really want to see.
So first order of business, we got to develop a box that opens up once it hits the ground and gets the beavers to the ground safely. Pretty simple. It's basically two halves of a box with some holes drilled in it. They weave the rope through. Once the parachute lands, there's no more tension on the rope. The box just kind of falls open. The beavers get out and start doing beaver things. So first we're going to test it before we put any innocent beavers at risk. We're going to take some empty weights, put them in the boxes, go up in the plane, drop them over the practice field, see how it goes. Goes fine the first couple of times. Okay, let's try it with one beaver just for practice. So they go ahead, they pick an older male. He's out of his breeding prime, potentially dangerous to some of the younger males. If something does happen, he's lived out most of his life. They name him Geronimo because they're a bunch of meatheads and that shit's funny. So they put him in a crate, they take him up in the plane, drop him off over the practice field from 800 feet. Geronimo makes it and survives. Now, obviously, we're not going to put all our beavers in one basket because of one successful test run. We need multiple test runs to be certain that this is going to work. And now that Geronimo is technically our lucky beaver, he's going to do it again. So he does. Geronimo does it again and again and again, and he keeps jumping, like more than 12 jumps this beaver makes. And
holy shit, he needs a medal for that shit, though.
By the end of it, the parks employees reported that Geronimo would actually run up to them and help them put him in the crate because he was ready to go again. Buh! This is animal abuse, and what if one of those boxes didn't open after the parachute landed? Buh! Okay, first of all, no it isn't. I've already went over the options. A, they could stay where they were at, being displaced, and end up getting shot by farmers for messing up their crops. B, they could spend days in transit on the truck and on a pack mule suffering and potentially dying. Or C, we could throw them in an airplane, fly them there in 15 minutes, and then throw them out the side. They can get their jump wings while they're doing their Band of Beavers reenactment, okay? It's literally the best option. Okay, secondly, why are you worried about the box not opening? Like, did you think about this at all? It's a pine box, and that's a beaver, okay? Literally the only animal in the animal kingdom known for cutting down trees with its fucking face. I have the utmost confidence that if one of those boxes malfunctions, the beaver is gonna figure it out. All right, so now they have...
I agree. The thing is that you have to accept that this is a solution in the late 40s. So either shoot them or doing airborne beavers, basically.
their beaver delivery method.
If they did this in 2024, they would get shot. And I'm not talking about the beavers.
They develop a plan. They pick out a bunch of different locations all over this wooded area where they're going to be able to drop these beavers off in groups of like 3 to 5, 2 males, 3 females, 1 male, 3 females, something like that. Enough that they're going to be able to rebuild their own little colonies, but they're going to be spread out enough that they're not going to congregate into one thing. And it's going to be a humongous boost to the beaver population. This is what conservation's all about. So they get that all figured out. They have the plan in place. They know the delivery method. Now they just got to go catch all the beavers. So they go back to town, catch them all. There's 76 of them. They take them back. They start loading them in crates, and they're going to take them up in the plane and throw them out the side. And here's the best part about the whole thing. They filmed it.
Into the drop box. nearly ready for that flight back into the mountain.
And this is where you can really start to see that this is a different time. I mean, look at this absolute Chad just manhandling this beaver into that crate with no safety equipment, no gloves, no iPro, nothing. If this were modern day, that guy would have leather protective gloves up to his elbow. He'd have safety glasses with a hard hat, with a face shield, with a leather apron. He'd have two dudes holding his hand while he did it just to make the safety guy happy. No, this is just some angry war veteran throwing a beaver into a box like it's another 8-hour workday. It's fantastic. That's it. They get the beavers loaded up on the plane takes off, they drop all the beavers in their designated drop zones. 75 out of the 76 survived. I don't know how they know this. I'm assuming they had people on the ground at the different drop locations to make sure the boxes opened or that the beavers made it or whatever. But apparently the one beaver that didn't make it had somehow either slipped through the crack when the rope was loose or eaten his way out of the box after they let it out of the plane, and the beaver was last seen standing on top of the box with the parachute above him, and he probably would have been fine, except when he got 75 feet off the ground, he decided to jump.
Well, I shall call that beaver Rambo because he wanted to Rambo it. Yeah, and it's very sad. But then again, he decided to how the hell did he actually get out midair from the box and he just stood there and just, well, I'm gonna jump. I can see the ground. I can see the ground. Poor beaver though.
So on one hand, that's kind of sad, but on the other hand, natural selection. If the other 75 beavers figured it out and you didn't, it's probably on you. On a happier note, though, the boys at the Fish and Game Department decided to hook up their lucky beaver, Geronimo. This is posted in the Journal of Wildlife Management, Volume 14, Number 2, April of 1950. The article, Transplanting Beavers by Airplane and Parachute by Elmo W. Heater, Idaho Fish and Game Department, McCall, Idaho. And I quote, Geronimo had a priority reservation on the first ship into the hinterland, and that with 3 young females went with him. They had to hook up their boy. And he made it. Apparently they went to check in on him a couple years later and his new colony was, and I quote, very well established. And Geronimo was not unique in that because pretty much every drop zone ended up turning into a thriving beaver colony in the following years because they kept tabs on this entire thing. And not only did it work, it was also super cost effective because according to this journal, the cost of transplanting one of these colonies was $30. It was $2 for the box, $16 for the surplus cargo parachute, and the flight time, man hours, and fuel totaled to $12 for a total of $30 per colony. And just to be clear, that's the actual crazy part about this story. It's not the fact that they actually had airborne beavers to go save the environment. No, that seems pretty reasonable. The crazy part is that these guys back in the 1940s managed to get the job done, have fun, and record it, and they did it for like $300 to $500. Because we all know in modern times, if they wanted to do this, there'd have to be like a 15-year-long environmental impact study that costs the U.S. taxpayers $25 million just so that the government could determine that if you drop beavers off in the forests, they will in fact do what beavers do. And then once the government goes ahead and says it is in fact okay to put beavers in the woods, it's going to take another 10 years for Lockheed Martin and Boeing to bid on the contract worth $100 million to relocate 100 beavers into the woods.
Is it just me, or was that the stupidest thing we've ever seen?
Sorry, I'm ranting. In conclusion, the moral of the story is if it sounds dumb, but it works, it's not that dumb. And sometimes it's ridiculously cost effective to just let people do their job. Also, beavers are cool, and airborne beavers are even cooler. And this has been the story of America's band of beavers, the airborne paratrooper beavers that went in to save the environment. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over to FatElectrician.com. Quack bang out.
I gotta tell you, this was probably the most insane story I've ever heard about. And something tells me in the back of my head that I heard about this story, but I never knew it actually was a thing. And it's just blowing my mind that this is so cost effective. So I did a bit of a Googling about it, and it's insane. The program involved moving about 76 beavers by airplane and parachute them down to the ground. The program was started to address complaints about property damage from residents. Parachuting beavers proved to be more cost-effective and also decreasing beaver mortality rates more than alternative method of relocation. I am blown away by this, and I really love the fact that they just did this. And they did it because they knew the importance of the beaver as an animal for the ecosystem. And man, I am a huge animal friend, lover, and this was they couldn't do this today because it wouldn't make sense. You can just put them in trucks that was AC'd or the water in them, so that just makes sense. But they did this, and they did this. Amazing. Let me know what you think. I love every second of this, and of course, if you haven't checked out, the Fat Electrician, you find the link for both the video and of course for the channel, located right down there in the description. Go there and give him the support that they so much deserve. This was America's Airborn Beavers. If you did enjoy this, don't forget to smack the like and of course hit that subscribe. Other than that, I'm Recky. You stay safe.